Flappy Bird is one of the most difficult, rage-inducing games ever created. Just over 12 years ago, we were blessed with this mobile game, and only 1 year later, the creator took it down because he says that it was too addicting and that it was affecting people's mental health. Infuriating? Yes. Affecting mental health? Yes. Addicting? I don't personally agree with. Now, for those of you that somehow don't know what Flappy Bird is, it's this extremely complicated game where you jump through pipes as a bird to increase your score. That's it. So I saw this nostalgic game and I had a fantastic idea. I decided to play for 10 hours straight and get the highest score I could possibly get in one sitting. I'm just kidding. I set a goal of 500 because I thought that would be not too high, not too low, just right in the Goldilocks zone. So if you're someone saying, why, Alex? Why would you do this to yourself? That sounds like such a ridiculous idea. To that I say, 1, to prove that I'm good at every game that I touch, and 2, because I can. Anyways, enough yapping. Let's get into the challenge. Quick disclaimer, I played this for about 30 minutes the day before I did this challenge, and I also played a bit back in the day on the playground trying to impress the girls. So this first hour was actually pretty solid. I was getting some decent scores, getting into the groove of things. The nostalgia was good, the fun was there. I was chilling, just getting in the grind. Not really much of a care in the world. I was thinking, oh, this is chill, you know? Just flap the bird a little bit, we'll see where it goes. Quick camera angle change there, so you guys can take a nice look at my beautiful face. Scores are averaging less than 100, less than 100. Basically, this first hour was just making sure that I was learning the intricate mechanics of the game, just figuring out how to stay as accurate as possible for as long as possible. I knew this was going to be long, so I stayed hydrated right there. Yeah, we got some very decent scores in this hour. It was definitely a nice warm-up, and I was still feeling pretty good. And literally by the end of the first hour, I was able to get my first big high score of 149. That felt pretty good. Clapping, feeling good. Over a quarter way there. Should only take me 3 more hours, right? Wrong. We'll see. Watch how miserable this gets. Yeah, so I took that 5-minute break. I realized breaks are going to be pretty important during this. And right back to back, get another insane record. Almost doubling what I got before. 239. It looks like a sigh of relief. That was more like a sigh of overconfidence. Because the reason I was released is because I was thinking, oh wow, that's so chill. I'm already almost halfway there within an hour. I'm going to be done with this in 2 hours. That wasn't the case. So as we're moving on here, I still remember feeling like pretty good at this point because I was still riding the high of that 250 that I got. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm chilling. I just need to get one more good run and I'll be solid. My averages definitely went up here during this hour, but I wasn't really able to get any crazy runs. My mental strength during this first beginning period was actually pretty solid. It honestly flew by pretty quick. I just listened to some music and listened to a few podcasts. I was thinking, oh, this is going to be so chill. In the end, nothing really came much out of the second hour. So after that pretty terrible second hour, I got into the third hour and I realized I needed to do whatever this is. I don't know, did some Zen stuff. I'm sure Sun Tzu said something about something somewhere. Let me know in the comments. This chair that I was playing on was so uncomfortable for 10 hours. Don't even get me started. But I could have sat on anything else and it would have been better. And the power of the gods just got in me. Power came in. I get back and I hit this insane run. Almost a new record. It definitely brought me back. Oh yeah, also I'm playing on a laptop here. So I tried to bring the laptop closer to me. Almost halfway through the second hour, I was like, okay, I need to change position because this bone on plastic is not doing me any favors. So I moved over to the bed, got a new position, changed the camera angle for you guys, and to no avail. I made 0 progress again. Few decent runs here and there. I remember specifically, I kept tabbing out and looking at the time. You know when you're doing like an exam and you look at the timer, it just goes slower and slower every time you look at it? That's how I felt. But this bed wasn't doing me any justice. I played for like an hour on it and then I moved on. By this point, I'm thinking, I wish I chose a game that had some sort of progression. Be able to collect some coins or convert some points into currency so I could buy some different skins for my bird, maybe make it blue, maybe change the color of the pipes, maybe turn into Mario, who knows, something like that. But having no progression at all besides just pure willpower to get to the score that I set, it was tough. But I'm not one to quit, so I kept moving. I kept flapping. And also, that does not look like a bird. If you saw that thing flying and it flew next to you, would you call that a bird? Let me know. So one more weird thing that was happening was when I was staring at this screen for so long, when I would look away, I would start to see warped vision. The same way when you look at those swirly black and white things for a long time, you look and you start seeing warped vision. It was the same thing. And finally, I break a new record right before 4 hours, 3 hours 42, break a new record. Halfway there, and I have more than half the time left. So I remember feeling pretty good about that. And I was like, I can easily do this. And after that, I was getting some pretty decent scores. My averages by now were definitely going up. Then you can see me there trying to make sure I got a good camera angle for you guys at 4:15. So finally at 4:28, 30 minutes before the halfway point, I'm like, okay, I need to take a long break, move position, rethink, reevaluate, see what's going on. Maybe the meditating hack is what I needed. So I guess the truth is I didn't actually play for a full 10 hours. I actually played for like 9:45 because of the breaks that I took. I'm sorry. Anyways, back into it, back on the terrible plastic chair, rather sit on a pile of bones. And now I was starting to get kind of annoyed. I was definitely starting to get kind of annoyed here because I actually wasn't making much progress, is what it felt like. I was looking at it the wrong way. Right there at 4:53, I got a pretty good score there. 2:47 didn't beat my record, but the problem was I wasn't looking at these like progression. I was looking at these like big failures, which is why I was getting upset. Right into the halfway point, and I'm not feeling great. Remember, keep flapping. The time will go up on its own, but the score is something I have to handle by myself. Feeling the dread, feeling the misery. But by some miracle, 5 hours and 28 minutes in, this happens. Oh. 4:58. So close, yet so far. Oh. Dude. I think I said why. Anyways, felt a bit sorry for myself. Whatever. I knew I had one goal. 500. I don't know what happened, but that score lit a fire under my ass. And not even an hour later, I was able to pull this off.
Oh.
518. I did it. Right? Wrong. The truth is I lied. The goal wasn't 500. The goal I set myself for this challenge was actually 1,000. And that's why my reaction was so disappointed, unhappy, because the reality of the situation set in. And the fact of the matter was I was more than halfway through the time and barely halfway through the score. It wasn't looking good for me. But what if maybe, just maybe, I could push through and just keep flapping? Something happened to me that I just went into a flow state, a pure state of focus and bliss. Back to back, 200, 200, 300. It was looking good, but I needed the miracle run. And so, 7 hours and 50 minutes, I was finally able to pull off 596. New best, but not even close. But unfortunately, to no real avail. I just wanted to let the clock run dry. My hands were sore, my brain was sore, my ass was sore. I just wanted to get out of there. And I had a few good runs here and there, but the reality was I wasn't really even close. And finally, after 10 hours, I finished my last run with a sigh of relief. Disappointing result.
10 hours later, I am done with that garbage game.
I failed, but that's okay. And in the end, I got a pretty good score, 596. Was that enough to prove that I was good at Flappy Bird? I would argue yes. Let me know if you disagree. What did I learn playing Flappy Bird for 10 hours straight? Absolutely nothing. Zero. But I know now that I'm one step closer to proving that I'm good at every game that I touch. So if you enjoyed, drop a like. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you want more of this type of content, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching.